welcome, welcome. We are live here at Kat's Home Chat. And if we haven't met before, I am Kat Trelinos. You can find me under Kathleen Trelinos. This is also streaming on Tada by Kat. And we are talking about all things home at Kat's Home Chat. And you wouldn't believe the things we talk about. You wouldn't believe belongs or encompasses home, really where you live. Doesn't have to be a house, can be an apartment, can be a mobile home. But I am super excited today because my guest is a very successful realtor. He also owns a successful staging company. And if you've scrolled by here, stop and please share. If either you or anyone you know is looking to buy or sell, we are going to share 5 unexpected ways that your realtor team can save or make you money. This green stuff, guys. Okay, so without further ado, I'd like to welcome John Reagan. John, welcome so much. Thank you so much for, it's an honor for you to be my guest today. And tell our audience just a little bit about you. What part of the country are you in? How did you get into real estate? Pretty briefly, because we've got 5 unexpected ways we're going to share today. You've got the floor.
Okay. Hi, guys. I'm John Reagan. I'm with DApro Properties. I'm a master accredited home stager also. So I have my own staging company. And that's really a great way how I've set myself apart from other realtors. Because when you see one of my listings, you know that it's going to be gorgeous from the get-go.
Absolutely.
You only have one chance to make a first impression. So.
And what part of the country are you in, John?
I am licensed in Southwest Michigan. Well, any place in Michigan, really. But I go up as far as South Bend, Mishawaka, and then I'm in Northwest Indiana also. So I have a very large territory. I have a car with 4 wheels. I'm not afraid to use it.
I've heard rumors.
Yes.
You see that rubber burning. So let's dive right in so we can cover all of our topics because I know they're pretty robust. We try to keep this at about 30 minutes or so. If you can't watch this whole broadcast, guys, go back and check it out. It'll also be on our YouTube channel in about 48 hours if you've missed it, and along with other episodes. So let's take the first one, and that is, I think a lot of folks, John, realize that a good realtor team can negotiate price, whether they're buying or whether they're selling, you know, the proper list price based on comps, et cetera. But let's talk about negotiating an inspection report and how that can save or make you money as a seller or buyer. Talk to us a little bit about that.
It's really important to understand that as a realtor, we receive a lot of education. We do continuing education, hours and hours and hours every year. But one of the things that no one really ever touches in our education is inspection response. So when you're looking for a realtor and you're interviewing realtors and that realtors are interviewing you, make sure that you're getting a realtor that has the experience to negotiate that. Because some of these things can make or break your deal being accepted or rejected. So it's really important. And some of those things, once they come up, you can always negotiate a credit. So it's really important that you know really what is a major issue and a safety issue versus things that aren't important. And that's experience because
that's experience. And you know, John, I've seen this, and I know you have, where you know, a less experienced agent, and everyone started there, so it's not a degradation, but a less experienced agent may look at that first time I saw an inspection report, oh my God, the house is falling apart. Well, it's their job to point out every single thing. And some inspection companies are better than others. Some will falsely alarm the home buyer by calling out every knick-knack thing and making it sound, catastrophic. But you pointed out just a very poignant topic, and that was to know if this is a safety or hazard issue. And those are the things you want to drill down to, right, John?
Really?
Your smart realtor is going to know, hey, these are just knick-knack things. you want to pick your battles here. Let's look at what's a safety or code issue. And certainly a seller is usually going to agree to fix those things. Would you agree most of the time?
I will say the market we're in right now is just a little crazy because a lot of realtors are negotiating by bypassing an inspection as part of the negotiation. And I will be very honest with you, I don't ever do that for my clients. I'm in charge of the process, but the client's always in charge of the decisions. But I always recommend an inspection, even if you're not asking for anything. You want to know what issues to look at, the deferred maintenance. You want to be the well-educated buyer.
Yes, you're making the biggest purchase that you'll probably, unless you're, I don't know, buying a Learjet or a country or an island, and you want to make an informed decision. I made that mistake, John, many years ago, thinking, oh, it's brand new. It was custom. Brand new. Little did I know that the custom had something like 7 electricians. We didn't have an inspection report. And come to find out, when the people who bought the house, there was no GFI in the master tub bathroom.
Oh,
yeah. And I had my nephews taking bubble baths in it. Yeah. So even if it's brand new, even if you're not looking to negotiate, as John mentioned, you want to make an informed decision and know what you're getting into. So great topics on that. Inspection report. Your experienced realtor can save you a ton of money and heartache, and knows the nuances of maybe not negotiating, making options. Okay, you know what? We won't do this, but we'll do this.
Well, and you could also reduce the price in some cases.
Right.
Sometimes the sellers don't want to do the issue.
Sometimes they don't want to do it. It's easier just to throw money on it and be done. You don't have to have receipts and qualified repair people, etc. But before we go on to the next topic, another nuance I'd like to bring up is your good realtor also has tried to find out enough information through conversations to know what's important. And so sometimes it's not about money. Sometimes it might be, that they have to be, let's say, at a relocation to another place. I mean, people move for so many reasons. Let's just take that as an example. And so your realtor negotiates, well, you know what, we won't do this, but what we could do, because master negotiations is all about give and about take. If you give something, you want something back. Okay, that's the art of negotiating. And so maybe it's, you know what, we'll do, we can close earlier, as an example, right? So it's not always about dollars, it's about value, and knowing what is valuable to the buyer or seller gives you power.
Well, and it's really important, especially now, ask the question. If you're bringing the buyer, ask the question to the listing agent, what is important to your sellers? Because
I love it. Now look how simple that is, John.
Yeah, ask the question and they don't. And it's really so important for a realtor to have a team behind them. You need to have great tradespeople that know their jobs and that can, are honest with their pricing, and that just comes from experience.
Yes.
And that takes time to know who's great at what they do and to
vet them. And in all honesty, as a staging professional, I've had to disclose because I've sent out trades and maybe I vetted them 3 weeks ago, but I think, you have to kind of give them 2 or 3 and let them know, they have to do their own vetting because as we know, trades can be, cyclical, but yes, experience and having those trades on your team and in your back pocket is certainly valuable to your buyer or your seller and can save or make them a ton of money. Great information on that. Let's go to, I guess it would be our second one, and that is a realtor can save or make you money if they know the area. How is that? Tell us some ways in which that would save or make money for a potential buyer or seller.
Well, first off, of course, the easiest is that what's happening in the area as far as what's selling, what's for sale, with the prices. but you also want to know the kind of homes, the kind of upgrades they have, you know, because I have buyers that and investors who really importantly will say, well, okay, I want to do this, but I'm going to do this. I'm going to put this marble in. And then I'm like, no, let's get something else here because this is the top of the market right now.
Yes.
So you do not
Yes.
want to over improve because you're not going to get that money back.
So that segues into another very important way that an experienced realtor team can save or make money. Of course, knowing the area and, as you said, knowing the nuances, not of just what the pictures show us, because we know, you know, there's some realtors out here, I mean, in Houston who use so much software, I'm just going to say, that when you get into the property, it doesn't look like the same property. So,
or there's high-powered lines behind the house that you weren't in the picture.
That were illegally photoshopped out.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That does happen, unfortunately.
that would be a big no-no. But I think this goes in tandem with having a professional staging stager on your team, teaming up with your realtor to save your seller money. I've seen this so many times, and I know John and I talked before the show, he's seen it as well, where folks want to put in, you know, the top of the line renovations or fixtures or this and that. They're going by their taste and not really looking at what is the best bang for my buck.
Well, they have to listen to the market, and that's the key. You have to know the market. And that's so it goes right back to know the area because one area can be one market and the next area over is a totally different market. So it's really important for you to know, especially, you know, this is the most important investment they're ever going to make normally, like you said. So you want to be the resource. I mean, you have to be the expert, and that takes work.
Yep.
You know, I have people the other day that they fell in love with this house, and I'm like, are you aware that there's a railroad track that runs right behind that house? And they're like, oh, the house didn't look quite as appealing, and they wanted to make a sight unseen offer. And I'm like, and we're doing a lot more of those. So knowing the area is vital.
And you know what? It may not have been an issue. I'll tell you, years ago, I was working for one of the first builders I worked for. I was in a trailer and there was railroad tracks. I was selling homes to be built, railroad tracks. I mean, literally when the train went by, you had to lip read. Because you couldn't hear what I was saying. And I sold it as Hometown America. Isn't that a wonderful, I love trains, and I wasn't lying because I do love trains. I used to go to the train station and just watch and listen to the trains. But for some people, you informed them. They may have come back, oh, I love trains. I love the sound of trains. It sounds to me like they were an investor, right?
Right. Well, these people weren't investors. They were actually looking for something with a great outdoors. And this house had a gorgeous outdoor area, you know, but it was facing. And I'm like, you should be aware of that because and sometimes I go over and sit and see and find out how many times the trains come by. I think so. Okay. So every 20 minutes there's a train. So if the house is well built inside, it's not normally an issue.
Right.
If you really want to enjoy the outdoor space,
the outside,
that becomes an issue. But that comes back to knowing your areas.
Sure. So you work a broad area, and I know, you know, in our area, realtors work, you know, all over Greater Houston. They go where their clients need them. So, you know, you don't have to live in the neighborhood.
No.
In fact, it's probably a good idea not to. That's my never to be so humble opinion. But I know you work a broad area, so I'm sure you do a lot of research. You have tools to do research, plus on-site visits, et cetera, to get a close-up, understanding of the particular neighborhood that your client's going to be, moving into.
I think it's mandatory to do your homework.
Yes.
Anymore. You don't know the area because they're going to ask you. And you don't have to have the answer to every question right that minute. But you can always look at them and say, you know, I'm not sure about that, but I'll find that out for you.
I'll find that out. And, I love that, John. Just as business 101, it's kind of one of my pet peeves, and I've trained folks as such as, if you don't know something, don't try to hoodwink and make up an answer. It is much more respectful to say, I don't have that answer, but I'll find out for you.
And, I keep a little book in the car, and I write it down because, if you're really, really, really busy, it's easy to forget those things.
Absolutely.
And you can lose a client over something as simple as that. So write it down and make sure that you get back to them within 24 hours, if not that same day.
Follow up.
Follow-up is key.
When John and I were talking, and I called him on the phone last week, he picked up his phone. And I know this is another topic, but if you're a realtor out there, it's notorious that realtors will not pick up their phone. And if you're with a client, I understand that, right? Mm-hmm. If you're with a client, but if you're not, pick up your phone. And in fact, I don't know if it was me, I guess I was just inbred from the corporate background I came from in sales, is pick up the phone and say, I can't talk right now. May I call you in an hour? Excuse yourself and say, may I call you in an hour? But anyway, John picked up his phone, and so he is already head and shoulders above many realtors out there.
I've gotten quite a few clients because I actually answered the phone.
Well, that's what you told me. Yeah.
One client was like, "Oh, you are the 6th realtor I called, and you're the only person that answered the phone on the weekend."
Wow.
Guess what? I sold them a house.
It is unfair, don't you think, John? It is unfair that the public expects realtors to pick up their phone all hours of the day and night. Yeah. That is unfair.
Be realistic with your boundaries, though, and put that in your voicemail.
Yes, I've had realtors do that. I don't know. I never could do that back when I was selling real estate full time because I felt like they would just, again, call the next realtor if they want someone right then. But boundaries, you have to build your business if you're a realtor, and you build in your boundaries. Maybe you have another job. Maybe you have little ones, what have you. So yeah, I've been a recipient of that. I'm either with a client helping them find a house or I return my calls from this time to that time and this time to that time. Is that what you're talking about?
Exactly.
Yeah.
And quite frankly, we practically live in our cars, and our cars are all Bluetooth now. So I make those calls Bluetooth very safely while I'm driving from showing to showing to showing to showing.
Right.
So there's no reason for not following up.
To not be connected, stay connected, and follow up. Absolutely. Okay, so we've got the. Let's just talk before we get off of overspending on major renovations. So we know the high end. You and I talked about, the $500 fan. You don't want to do that. It's really, that's overkill. You're not going to get the money back. I think it's kind of a consensus, John, correct me if I'm wrong, that for resale, bathrooms and kitchens are going to get you the biggest return if you're looking to update.
Have you ever heard the words happy wife, happy life?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, well.
Jeff knows that one.
In real estate, that's very true.
Yes.
Because the kitchen is the center of the home. And today, our society is so hectic, and right now there's so few places that we can actually go in and really relax and enjoy, that your home, we've turned our homes into sanctuaries. And so I'm a firm believer that a great kitchen and baths that are like retreats and spas are really key to selling a home. And please, to everyone, here's a great tip. Please, I'm begging you, please.
It's begging you.
Think color palette.
Close to my heart.
Yes, that's gonna actually make you money if you have a cohesive color palette.
I'm so glad you've gone down that road. Yes, and it's not hard to do.
No.
If you're occupied, you're not vacant. We do vacant. We shop from $300,000 worth of hand curated inventory, and it looks like a model home. But you can do that with the home you live in, with really just spending, probably less than $100 and buying some cohesive. Let's say you already had, we had one the other day. You already had some steel blue silk curtains in the master, but everything else, nothing. So bring that in with some grays, pick up some other tones, buy yourself a half a dozen pillows and integrate them, a couple on the couch, one on the master bed. Get that color palette, two colors, light and bright. If you've got dark furniture, open everything up, open up the curtains and bring in a color palette.
Yeah. So many times, and sellers, here's what a buyer's going to do. They're going to go, oh, that's going to cost me $1,000 to have that repainted. So we need to take, that room's not good either. So we need to take $5,000 off what we're offering just for paint.
Guess what you just lost, guys?
Yeah.
Guess what you just lost? And I teach that to my CE Realtor classes, John. I'm glad you brought that up. And that's the reality. We have one right now that has a bright orange wall and a bright red wall and a bright pink. They're just accent walls. It would cost them actually probably a weekend to do it themselves. But let's say they pay someone $400. That's probably high for just 3 walls. So let's just say $500. Exactly what John said happens. She buys, if you haven't read that book and you're a realtor, buy the book, She Buys, because 9 times out of 10 she does. Happy wife, happy life. So let's say she does fall in love with the home. It's in the right area. It's in the right school. Aunt lives down the street. But he is looking around going, this has got a lot of honeydew stuff.
Yeah,
right?
Seriously. Yeah.
It's going to cost me money and sweat. So, of course, he gives in because happy wife, happy life, as John said. And he says, okay, fine, we'll put an offer in it, but we're offering $5,000 less.
Yeah.
What did you just throw away? What did you just throw away? Do the math.
And it can be thousands of dollars just for
it can be thousands, because
I'll be very honest with you, and I'm always a resource, and I always give them alternatives and really try to create a picture for them of what the possibilities are. But I've lost sales of a house that was perfect for them because they didn't like the paint colors. And,
is that mind-boggling?
And so if you think that won't make a difference, trust me, it does.
And this is coming from a very experienced, successful realtor, because studies show that 87% of the people out there have no imagination. That's why staging works, because staging creates emotion, and buyers justify price with emotion. So his buyers walked in, it was the perfect home, and they couldn't get past the orange walls because why? They didn't feel it, and they couldn't imagine it. So, again, every home, I'm on my staging, bandwagon, but every home deserves to be staged. John knows that, whether it's a entry level flip, whether you're living in it, not living in it, it's a mansion. Every home deserves to be staged. The littlest of, nuances and details can really mean tons of money. And studies show us, the average is about 10%. Nationwide, it's up to 17% because of that. Would you agree, John, even in today's market where, so many people are thinking, I can just put it up, it'll sell itself because...
And it probably will. That's the thing.
It probably will, but for less, don't you think for less?
Exactly. It'll sell, but it'll sell for less. But you can also, smart staging will take $150,000 home and get you $20,000.
Oh yeah.
I had a client. He's coming on the market. Cute little bungalow. But it is a tiny little bungalow, and he's like, oh well, I'll just get, we'll just put it on as is, and I'll get this much money, and I'm happy. And I said, well, what about if you would paint the interior for me? And I chose his colors for him.
Right.
I said, put in some new builder grade carpet. Doesn't have to be great carpet. You're not at that price point. and I'll stage it. So how would you feel if I could get you $20,000 more for that investment? And the key is that investment. I mean, that's a pretty good return on an investment.
Oh my gosh.
Because
And
he's
isn't
probably
that
going to
why
spend
we love
$1,500.
staging, John? That's why we love it, because it works, it creates wealth. So that's on the low end, folks. That's a bungalow. And I mean, look at the results. There's no home that too small that doesn't deserve staging. So I have one that we just did. It had been on the market 3 times. We're looking at 700,000. So, you have to think of the demographic of the buyer. So a buyer walking into, a 3-story downtown Houston at that price point really has, they want it to look a certain way. Or it's not going to be the lifestyle that they envision themselves in. So 3 times it wasn't staged. It just looked like, kind of how we live in our home, furniture shoved up against the wall, nothing really strategically placed, no color palette, as John calls, not awful, but just not marketable, ready for a $600,000, $700,000 buyer. Right. So we staged it. Of course, it looked like a model home. First weekend out, 2 offers over price.
Right.
You just get chills when you help people make money like that, and you see these magical transformations relate to the buyers, and the buyers fall in love.
Well, we had one where the house had been on the market for over a year, and the house had some challenges. I agree, but really the house in itself was an amazing house. It just hadn't been showcased.
Yeah.
So he hired us to go in and stage. We did every room, and we created a story. Yes. And he had 3 offers, and he point blank told me that he sold it for $50,000 more than the offers that he got when it was unstaged.
That just gives me chills.
So trust me, he did not spend $50,000 for.
He did not spend $50,000. He did not.
Yeah. So he was a very happy guy.
I'm sure he was thrilled.
And
so you and I, John, could talk about stories after stories. In fact, I'm going to give Ta-Da by Kat a plug right here. Please find me on Houzz. We now have 78 5-star reviews. And we're super proud of that. Thank you. So check it out and see what other people are saying if you have time. We're going to segue into another area. I think this is the 5th area that your realtor team can make it or break it, making you money or saving you money. And that is a realtor team that knows the nuances and the differences in how to leverage negotiations for either a new build or a resale, because they are quite different, right, John?
Oh, well, for sure, because my experience has been every builder looks at a new build as his child. So don't insult my child by lowballing my offer. And there's usually a little less degree of the ability to negotiate on those, but price is not the only thing that you can negotiate.
Yes.
You can negotiate and say, okay, well, we'll give you this price, but I want you to finish that bonus room.
Yes.
Or I can give you this price. We'll give you this price, but I want that basement finished.
Yep.
So that's not normally how you do it for a resale, but on there's always ways to negotiate on a new build.
Yes.
For resale.
And many people don't know that. Yeah. So let's stay on new build just for a minute, because that's kind of my, over a decade experience. So there are some. I just helped actually one of my team members get into a new home. I'm not going to say who they are, but they don't give anything. It's what you see is what you get. They have some other things on the finance side, but so you have to know the builder, and that's where your realtor knowing, oh, well, so-and-so builder does this, so-and-so builder closes out their books quarterly or annually or this and that. And so they know where they can negotiate if the sales manager wants to get something off the books. But something key that, right? So that
you want to know how really you want to know how leveraged are they right now?
Yes,
I'm gonna
yes.
give
And
the
I'm
house
sorry,
to that
builders.
city.
I'm sorry, builders out there, but
Yeah, sorry.
I'm not naming names, but hey, we're all here to help you sell homes and get people into the most perfect home. But you made a really, really good point, and that is, I know I helped my son years ago back in Southern California. I said, son, you need to go in and ask him. You tell him you want a backsplash. Tell him you want this kind of floor. Da 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 da. He was like, they gave it to me, all of it.
Yeah.
So most builders, not all, but most builders will give you stuff over money. So you pay the full price, but then make sure your realtor negotiates some stuff that you want, because you have to think about it. The stuff, let's say the flooring, they have, huge leverage, and they get the flooring for, 1/4 the cost or whatever.
Exactly.
So, right?
They
So
get
that
it at a different cost than you and I get it at.
Yes, it costs them a whole lot less,
Mhm.
and it's a win-win because everybody gets what they want. So that's a very good point. Ask for stuff more than likely, and or they're usually helping with closing costs. Do they help with closing costs in your part of the country?
Not so much new builds.
Oh, okay. Yeah, see, here they do. They'll pay like a huge amount of closing costs because they're tied in. They have an affiliate relationship with the lender.
Usually it's our FHAs that are asking for closing costs, and in today's market, they are at such a disadvantage.
FHA
so you
is?
really have to know how to negotiate to get your offer in front of them right now.
Really?
Yeah, because they don't have to get. They're going to get an offer on that house without.
They don't need to. Yeah.
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 But,
And some people think too, well, I'm paying cash. Well, they don't care. They're going to get their money whether it's a lender or cash.
That doesn't.
I've had people ask me, do I get a discount because it's cash? Nah, we get our money either way.
The only thing is that it a lot of times with cash, they don't bother to have an appraisal done. And if they're at the top of the market, then that, cash is still king.
Sure. And if you have multiple offers too, and seller is lining up the offers, that could tip the scale because they know, okay, there's going to be no snafus on that.
And you can close faster.
And you can close faster. That as well. Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. So I think we've touched on, guiding your client not to overspend on renovations, negotiating the inspection report, knowing the area. Okay. Because you don't want a realtor that does, and I'm coining this from Keller Williams, from Diana Kakowski, the 3 Ps, and that is put the sign out, put it in MLS, and pray someone else sells it. That's definitely not what John does, or a really conscientious realtor. They're going to team up, they're going to have trades, they're going to bring in staging, consultation, vacant, whatever it takes, because my, and never to be so humble opinion, is that staging is the most strategic marketing tool. Would you agree, John?
Oh my gosh, yeah.
I know you do, because you're a master fellow stager.
And that's why I invested that time and money, is so I could stand
because you realized it.
And I could make my clients stand above the crowd. I guarantee you can always tell pictures from a staged home versus a non-staged home. And the staged home is going to bring you more money. Even in today's market, a staged home will bring you more money.
Absolutely. And I would love to have you back on my show, and we can talk about that. All staging companies are not created equal, or all staging is not created equal. Wouldn't that be a fun one?
Yeah.
we could bring in some of Jenny's early staging. Hi, Jenny, if you're watching my early stage.
Actually, I'm pulling up some pictures for her.
Are you?
We call it. It's a series called Hits and Misses. And from my early
are you guys going to do a series? Oh, yeah. Okay.
So we have a nice hit. I have some nice misses, and I look back on and go, oh my God, what was I thinking?
But don't we all? Oh, I look back and some of it really was just, I didn't have the budget. I didn't know what I didn't know. I look back and go, OMG.
Yeah. And
I do that?
You didn't stay on top of trends, and that's really important in today's market.
Yes.
That's work. You have to understand that we work to stay on top of trends.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Right. Because you'll be left in the wind and look very dated very quickly.
Exactly. Yeah. Time to freshen that up a little, guys.
So I think we've hit all the 5 points. Is there anything, John, that you'd like to share with our audience that, and I know, God bless anyone in real estate, especially right now. It is not for the faint of heart. Hopefully you have a good team. Even if you're new, start out, get a virtual assistant, get someone on your team that can do staging consultations. It will set you apart. Staging in our part of the country run between $250 and $350 typically, unless it's a huge space. But I'll tell you that investment, if you include it with your commission, will get your sellers on board. They do everything. Don't you agree, John? They do everything that you suggest. Typically, everything. So it really, realtors start spending money the minute they take a listing appointment.
Oh, and
a listing,
of it.
Right? And so how many realtors do you know? We've all seen them on MLS. You're like, you let those pictures go online, and I think some of them, because they're new, they are timid to talk to their sellers. And some of the verbiage that I used to use, I'm sure you use, John, is, Mr. Seller, I want to help you sell your home in as quick of time as possible for the most amount of money.
Exactly.
And I know you do too, right? Get their head shaking.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do. So anything I tell you or my stager tells you is going to be to meet that goal.
And that's our only goal.
And that's the only goal. And what's really nice is when your seller's out looking, because they've got their buyer's hat on and they see the difference between staged homes and unstaged homes.
Well, and here's the other thing I think it's really important to know is that what is your realtor bringing as far as the added value? Because quite frankly, I can tell you going with discount brokerages and low commissions isn't going to make you more money. You need to start asking, what am I leaving on the table? Because I can guarantee you a knowledgeable, good realtor that's worth their commission is going to earn you more money. Because guess what? I make more money when you make more money. So
absolutely, and I hate to overcoin it, but it is a win-win, and that's what you need to realize. I think I told you about this one client I had about a year and a half ago, and he wanted me to list it and stage it because he was out of the country and he didn't have an agent. I said, okay, I can do that for you. One point of contact. So we agreed on, the standard percentage. And a couple of days later, of course, people had been talking in his ear, and he said, Kat, I've been talking, and there's another realtor that can do it for 1% less. So I'm going to back up and tell you that I'd already sent him my marketing plan, my 68-point marketing plan, which included aerial photography and lifestyle photography, and et cetera. And I just calmly, without a beat, said, I can do that. What part of the marketing did you want me to leave out?
Exactly.
He's like, never mind.
Exactly.
Never mind. You want the best? Yeah. And he sold in 4 days. He sold in 4 days for over asking. Yeah. So what John said, is just so true. Trying to be to get a discount broker is not going to save or make you any money,
or a discount stager.
Or a discount stager. Thank you for that plug. So this episode, John, if someone wanted to reach you before it goes on YouTube, because all your information will be on there, and find out more about your services, what would be the best way for them to reach you?
Well, my website is teamreaganhomes.com, and you can reach me through that and many, many avenues. And I'm a 7-day-a-week realtor, so.
Wow. 7
Sorry.
days.
In this market, you gotta be.
You're making a bad name for other people.
No, seriously. Now understand, summer's my busiest time.
Yes.
Spring and summer's my busiest time. So
sure.
Am I going to make myself available for you to to make the biggest purchase of your life 7 days a week? Am I going to pick up the phone? Yes.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. Yeah. It's like folks ask me, well, where do you stage? I go, where people need me to. We've gone as far as Dallas, which is 4 hours away. You know, we just make it happen.
Right.
Find a way to make it happen. We were going to team up with another sister company. Ended up, we didn't have to. We did a mixed media and just brought in, you know, what we needed. But yeah, you go where people need you. So,
right. Exactly.
So John, teamreganhomes.com.
That's it.
Team Reagan, is it Regan or Reagan?
It's Reagan, actually.
teamreganhomes.com. Thank you so much, John. We're going to have to brainstorm, yeah, and have you back because I know we can talk about a myriad of topics. And hey, if you and Jenny need any misses.
You know what? That would be awesome if you would send some in. Seriously.
I will. I'll send to you and Jenny. Yeah, I've used them. I've used them on my team training. You know, just to humble myself, so that my team, most of them, been with me 2 years, so they haven't seen 5-6 years ago, and I wanted them to see. We didn't start out like this, ladies.
Yeah. This was an evolution.
It's been an evolution.
Yeah.
Happy Friday to everybody. If you're celebrating Good Friday, have a good, fabulous Friday and a great weekend. Hopefully many of you are going to be being with family, sharing a meal, hiding some eggs maybe. I don't know. But as always, stay positive, stay hopeful, and stay connected. And thank you so much for connecting with John and I. And check out John if you want to save or make a lot more money in your next real estate transaction. Thank you, John.
Thank you so much.
Alrighty. Have a great weekend.